Beasts all over the shop.
Oh, Corey is the beast! Oh, the beast comes!
The children ran away from the one deemed a beast. The young boy slumped forward onto his hands and made sounds akin to a wild animal, as best as he could.
No, he's going for you!
The young Anselm laughed, seeing the charading Corey playfully and clumsily running towards him. When it proved too hard to catch him on all fours, he continued running on two legs, quite unlike a frenzied beast.
No fair! You can't run on two legs! You're a beast!
Anselm shouted over his shoulder.
Oh, well, I'm clever, and I learned to run like a human. Oh no, he's faster and stronger now!
The children laughed and shouted as the game developed, and the first victim fell to its improvised rules.
Aha! I got you! Now you're a beast too! Oh no! I feel the change!
Anselm threw his head back and roared like a hound. Ho there, children! What is going on here? A burly man, dressed in dampened green robes, and a holy shawl of the healing church broke the immersion.
It's the prospector! He'll slay the beast!
Oh, seems my son turned into something foul. Might have to drag this one home to his mother so she can turn him back.
Dad, come on. You can't cure the beast. You can only kill it.
Luckily you are not a monster then. But come now, mother has the dinner ready.
And I tell ya, that thing was frightening. Stuff of nightmares.
And where was this? Pius and Garlman walked on opposite sides of Maria in the moonlit streets of Yarnam, mainly provided light by the lanterns. Still they remained close to the sidewalk, albeit not as audibly covered as they were visibly.
That be Lauren. You must remember, Maria.
Quiet, please.
Pardon. You remember, right? Lauren?
Their conversation proceeded, only slightly higher than a whisper.
I do.
Still gives me the shivers. And that was merely the top layer.
Maria had been forced to retrieve her old garments she utilized within the labyrinth, seeing how they were fit for the task, as well as looking the most inconspicuous. Presumably, she would be recognized from the clinics, and were it to be so, she'd rather appear in something less formal or otherwise work-related. Her two companions were dressed in the similar fashion of having donned the casually everyday wear with concealed reinforcement that was the standard for speed emphasis in the labyrinth. Quite fitting. Pius smirked and straightened his posture.
Count yourself lucky. Lauren's the reason why I'm here now. Never again will I visit that place. You prefer the nightly streets? I'm not saying it's better. 'Tis easier to kill a guardian than...
He bit his lip and his posture sunk.
But it rarely happens, so I'd rather play the spy for a bit. Anyway, here's my street. Good luck.
They waved him off and emerged more and more with the pitch-black depth of the opening between the rows of houses.
Far, Lady Maria?
Just ahead, down towards Baker's.
Ah, mine's slightly beyond.
Have you ever faced one of them?
Hmm?
One that has become?
Ah, yeah, I have.
And? He stared straight ahead. The two of them stopped at a street crossing where their paths diverged.
I tried to see it their way. It's better for them, in the end. Keeps them from doing something they would have regretted. A mercy.
His words echoed that of German, to the point it might just as well been him. With a limp hand he waved her off, and walked further down the street. She remained for a moment, not quite knowing who to blame. She resumed the trip down the street that was, like the former, lit with street lamps. During the days, there was plenty to observe in people. As of yet, no incident had occurred where an innocent suffered the mad products of their work. None of the patients she herself had treated had also never been one to suffer whatever the affliction was. But undeniably, something was happening due to the holy blood. Those that argued it to be something else must have overlooked the fact that symptoms of the kind had only surfaced with the arrival of blood healing. Maria knew, of course, of another place where similar fiendish manifestations appeared in the common people, namely the subterranean kingdom of Loran, a place, too, linked with the old blood. As her mind wandered, a man came walking down the street towards her. She thought nothing of it until he stepped towards the doorway of the exact same house she had been tasked to examine, and she immediately knew who the man was. About a week ago, the middle-aged fellow had come before her, seeking treatment for an eye that had mysteriously gone blind in a work-related accident with the construction of Cathedral Ward. There had been nothing out of the ordinary with the administration of blood, and he was sent on his way. Only recently, just previously during the same day, in the morning had he returned to the clinic with a rather minor injury, or so she had been told, requesting further administration. Naturally, he had been turned away, but she had personally added his name to the list out of curiosity for the strange occurrence. He must have caught sight of her just as he was turning inward to his door and recognized her, for he was quick to once again step out into the street towards her, despite her head being lowered.
My Lady Maria.
Ah, Mr. Kane. Imagine the coincidence.
What are you doing in this part of town, eh?
He was breathing rather loudly and was not quite able to close his mouth. In addition, his body seemed tense but also timid before her. Oh, I am simply passing through. There is actually a residence that had sent for me some time ago.
Ah, for the blood, eh?
Well, not quite.
Oh, my sweet Lady Maria. I was at the clinic today, but you was nowhere to be found. They turned me away very brutishly. Oh, but you would never be so crude. Would you, my lady?
He had cupped his hands together like he was begging, and his smile did not appear as sincere as he likely wanted it to.
I must excuse myself. You are more than welcome in the morrow.
Oh, but please, it cannot wait. I have already waited so long. That blood of yours. You must have more of it. To treat me with. Oh, please.
He stumbled closer, provoking her to take a quick and defensive step back. The gesture had him take a mighty breath that he exhaled in an almost visible fashion.
Oh, but, my lady, sweet bring of blood, bestow of blood. There must be more to have.
Her eyes narrowed as he took an additional warped step towards her, hands held like in prayer.
One divine such as you, blessed with blood, could you not give it me? Just a drop.
There is no blood to be had for you. Now step back. Would you be so kind? You are frightening me.
She spoke through gritted teeth, and although the words were apt for a woman in distress, her tone was more akin to an intimidating man, and the one before her seemed almost delighted by the gesture.
Pity. But I just can't wait any longer. Your blood would simply have to do.
The moment his sentence was finished, his left pupil flashed with yellow, and it seemed to collapse in on itself. He threw himself at her, but she had already drawn the old blade German had made with siderite long ago, stepped back while slashing at his throat. The scream he had intended came out as thick blood in his mouth, and he proceeded to stumble after her.
You...
His deformed eyes grew only more frenzied and enraged. He clutched at his throat, spilling blood, and fell to his knees, still trying to reach her. He crawled the rest of the way, forcing her up against the house wall.
My lady... My... blood...
His arm reached feebly for her, and his eyes, just for a moment, became wide, like many impressions and realization of different emotions hit him all at once. Then he collapsed onto the sidewalk.
Blood vial. Special blood used in ministration. Once a patient has had their blood ministered, a unique but common treatment in Yarnum, successive infusions recall the first, and are all the more invigorating for it. No surprise that most Yarnumites are heavy users of blood.